During the course of this video, we're going to look at helping our seller clients, our seller connections, navigate the world of multiple offer situations. Multiple offers occur in any kind of market and can occur with any kind of seller, anywhere from the most simple basic condo to luxury properties. Regardless of the type of property, our sellers need to be prepared for how to respond and there are options that they have for responses in a multiple offer situation. So we're going to take a look at how to prepare our sellers for how to respond. First, at the stage of taking the listing, then what to do when offers start to come in, third, when an offer is accepted, and then finally, follow up after acceptance, as well as some legal requirements for things to take care of after acceptance. So I know usually at this point in time, I throw in a quick image of Joe from legal, because we are going to be discussing some legal terms. We'll see Joe a little bit later, because we all like Joe from legal. So let's start with, where do we start when we are taking a listing? We have to remember that as agents, we are responsible for explaining to sellers that multiple offer situations may occur. They may occur in any type of market at any time. And we have to make sure that our sellers understand that we are legally obligated to present all written offers to a seller, even if the seller is already under contract to sell their property and we receive additional written offers. We are required to present all offers to our seller. That is a legal obligation that we really can't skirt. And there has been litigation multiple times in the state of Utah where sellers found out later that their agents had not provided all of the written offers that had been received, and that there were in fact better offers that had been received that had not been presented. So keep in mind, even if we get another written offer when they're under contract, at any stage of the listing process, we have to present written offers to our clients. Now, when sitting down and going through the listing, this is a good opportunity to go through the multiple offer disclosure form to explain to our connections what their potential responses can be. And there are a variety of responses, and so they need to understand them. Option number one is to accept or counteroffer one of the offers and reject all offers. For many sellers, this to them is the simplest way. They like one offer the most, it meets most of their needs or may even exceed what they're anticipating, and so it simply is a matter of moving forward with that offer. The seller may look at each of the multiple offers and to determine the seller wants to accept or counteroffer only one of the offers. In such an instance, the seller may accept or counter that offer and then reject the others. They need to understand the risk, as the rest of this explains, that if they reject all of the other offers out of hand and their current buyer then does not complete the contract, they may have lost the interest of those other contacts who were at some point really honestly, legitimately interested in purchasing the property. So if they flat out reject everyone else out of hand, they are running the risk of losing that potential part of the market. This is an opportunity for us as agents to reach out to that buyer's agent to determine really how solid the offer is, and to counsel our clients that there are other options that may provide them additional opportunities, multiple offers, multiple opportunities, additional opportunities for security for their own sake in moving forward with the process. That provides the next of those opportunities is that they may present multiple counter offers. So rather than accepting one and rejecting all, or only countering one, they may use a specific form that we will look at in a moment to present to additional or counter offers to additional buyers beyond just perhaps the number one offer. Number two, number three may be very similar. They can choose to present multiple counter offers. They then have to wait to see what kind of responses they receive. Again, the opportunity here is they may actually get a better response from maybe number two or number three than number one has. They may also lose the interest of some of the potential buyers because those buyers may not want to be in some kind of bidding scenario, or may have really honestly put their best foot forward at the beginning. And now that they know that they're competing, may move forward with other properties. That's always going to be a risk. Your third opportunity, and this is one that many of us are familiar with, is to, rather than negotiate, go back and forth with multiple agents, going back to multiple buyers, is simply to send a written request. Again, we're going to go over that form, that all interested buyers present their highest and best, or hit me with your best shot offer, and then select from that offer. Again, potential here is for some people may have hedged their bets on the first offer. They may shoot for, this really is what I can do. It has the potential for weeding out some offers that already had really done everything that a buyer felt comfortable with, only to find that they're not really in the running. If they were just shooting in the dark and hoping maybe this will work, but I got other things I'm interested in, finding out that they're in a multiple offer situation can help weed out some not as qualified or not truly interested offers. So what do we do when offers come in? In a separate training, we went through how to present a net sheet for presenting offers. In fact, if you look in the YouTube channel for presenting buyer offers using a seller net sheet with just the facts, it goes through a step-by-step how to fill out the net sheet that we have available. If you don't have access to this, contact me. I will provide that link to you, and we can go through and set this up. This is very useful to set up at the time of listing, to go over potential list prices and then be able to determine potential outcomes by using this net sheet. Now, by presenting just the numbers to a potential or to a seller of potential buyers, it helps them to see logically which of these seems to meet my needs the most in terms of purchase price, if there are concessions, deadlines, how fast can they close. All of that can be presented in strict number form. For you as an agent, this also helps to prevent any sense that you may, or that your buyers' names may have influenced the seller in a negative way, in ways that could be considered violations of fair housing. So by removing all names and just using numbers, you're helping your seller be safe by making a logical decision, and you're helping you be safe against potential allegations that your seller selected a property based on any of the protected classes that may have clues to them in the name. It's also a lot easier just to do this and have to sort through every single page of every single offer. Now, on that further training, it also has steps on how to point out if it's a cash, conventional, FHA, or VA. Those are legitimate reasons why a seller may choose to discriminate legally and choose one offer over another based on their comfort level with the type of financing being used. Hence the term cash is king. But make sure that these decisions are being made as unemotional as possible by presenting those numbers. Go back and watch presenting offers using a seller net sheet. And again, if you need help, contact me. We'll go through the net sheet. Now, when multiple offers are received, It's important to maintain contact with the agents of all of the offers. It's part of our duty of honesty to the other side. We are required by law to be honest with the other side. Do not tell a potential buyer you have multiple offers if you do not have multiple written offers. I've frequently had agents use terms such as, well, how many offers do you have? And I've responded, at this time, we do not have any written offers. My favorite phrase was one who said, so it sounds like you've had threats of offers. And yeah, threats of offers is all I had. Whether or not we disclose to the other side is also part of our relationship with our seller. How much we are allowed to disclose is part of what the seller has instructed us during that listing process as to how much information, if multiple offers are received, they want us to or will allow us to share with other potential agents regarding offers that have been received. So keep that in mind. The most common way of notifying multiple agents all at once is using this notice of multiple offers. This is used when our client has chosen to go with the highest, present his or her best offer, or the so-called highest and best. We know that oftentimes buyers know what they're most comfortable with, but also know what their limits are. Let them show your sellers how serious they are by presenting their highest and best. If they want to make any addenda, any changes to the original offer, those can be simply done by addenda received. But this also tells them that we are going to be reviewing by a specific deadline. And be honest with this. If you say we're going to be reviewing tomorrow at 5 p.m. and you start receiving offers, wait until tomorrow at 5 p.m. to present them so that you're being honest to the other side in the way you treat them. That's option one. That was one of those options we talked about. If your seller just wants to say, I don't want to have to deal with lots of counteroffers, just hit me with your best shot, and I'm picking one of those. Okay. If your seller chooses to provide a counter offer to more than one potential buyer, then we use the real estate purchase contract multiple offers addendum. And you'll notice it states by stating specifically that the buyer's purchase offer is one of two or more purchase offers the seller has received. Rather than accept the multiple offer, the seller has elected to provide a counter offer to each interested buyer. Now, at this point, they're going to make specific responses to that buyer's offer that they are countering. As an agent, we need to make sure if I'm going to do this with my client, I'm going to have that offer with me, and we're going to fill these out one at a time so that we don't accidentally in my mind or on the paperwork blend two offers together and suddenly realize, oh, I countered that one with something that was in another offer. Be very aware of the details on this, that they really are specific to that particular offer that you received. The third paragraph of this is for that potential buyer to understand that if they mark acceptance, they're not actually under contract to purchase the property yet. Here's why. It states specifically the seller shall not be obligated to sell the property to the buyer, and there is no binding contract between the buyer and seller unless the buyer receives written notification from the seller by a specific time. That buyer's purchase offer, as contained in the REPSI, is a successful purchase. There is a very specific form we're going to go to next that your seller is required to provide to the buyer whose final counter offers they accept. Now, the buyer has the right to counter this counter, And if your seller wants to continue with that, you keep moving that way. But nobody is technically under contract until one buyer receives the seller's notice to buyer of the accepted offer. This states very simply that the seller's notice to the buyer confirms that that buyer's purchase offer is successful. Fairly straightforward. Big question. What do you do with all those other offers? You had people interested in buying the home, interested enough that they wrote an offer. They may have received the counteroffer. They've responded to it in some way. They've shown some definite, solid interest in this property. Again, let our sellers know the risk is some of them may drop out at this point. They're going to go look at other homes. They may already be looking at other homes. They're going to weed themselves out as potential buyers. But you could still have some really good, solid offers in hand. So what do? We're all familiar with the secondary or backup contract. As we go through this process with our sellers, we can explain to them, and should be explaining to them, that there is this addendum that states, all right, buyer number 2, you came in second place, or third, or fourth, or wherever, but you've got a good solid offer. Are you interested in going into backup position? You're not legally out, and their agent has to explain they're not legally obligated to buy the property yet, and all of the regular deadlines are contingent upon the first or primary contract canceling for whatever reason that buyer chooses to cancel. This contract then has a couple of steps, but can become live, and your sellers can continue with the selling process. To them, it puts somebody in their back pocket. They know they've got a plan B. That's the advantage. Disadvantage is they could get another better written offer. Remember, we have to present all the written offers, and this backup still maintains the right of first refusal. What could be second place now could be third place later on in terms of meeting all of the needs of your seller. If they've got this written backup agreement, they are obligated to notify that backup buyer that primary contract has failed. Are you going to continue with this process? It's up to the comfort level of your seller and how risk averse they may be. In the event that the first contract does in fact cancel and you have this addendum already signed, then you provide the seller's written notice of the termination of the primary contract, because this then gives the the backup buyer the opportunity now to respond. Seller within 4 days after such an event shall provide written notice and determine if they're going to move forward. But it is a written notification. Notice it's signed by the seller only on this one because it is a notice, but it must be in writing. Calling the agent saying, hey, we fell out of contract, should we move forward? Yes, that's the first step. That's letting them know that's going to happen. This is the paperwork. And our sellers need to be reminded throughout this process that statistically about 1 in 4 buyers nationwide don't complete the contract. So if your seller isn't very risk averse, there's very risk averse and doesn't want to go back on market and wait again, they may choose to go back up. Now, one last thing about after an offer is accepted. Please keep in contact with the other agents. Let them know we received multiple offers. Thank you for the offer. This is what the seller has chosen to do. Would you like to remain part of the process? Is your buyer still interested? Keep them in the, keep contact with them. It's part of being honest and professional. Also, copies of all of those contract documents must be included. You notice it's in red. All documents for all offers received must be included in the digital files maintained by the brokerage. This isn't a brokerage thing. This isn't a Marty thing. This isn't a Craig thing. This is a state requirement. We must maintain copies of all written offers received, including any received after the buyer is already under contract. You kind of see a pattern going here with this after contract thing. Always, always, always provide all of those documents into the system. If you're using Brokerment, into Brokerment, whatever file system you're using, you must maintain that. It must be maintained at the brokerage for the same length of time as the all files, which, trivia here, remember that is 4 full calendar years after the offer was received. So if the offer is received at any time during the year 2024, the count starts January 1, 2025. You have to keep it for 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, January 1st of 2029. You can, if you choose to, you can purge your files. But all of those documents must be there. Okay, at the beginning, I promised a quick little pop in by Joe from Legal. Keep in mind that these are ways to help protect your seller in multiple offer situations. Help them see that it's not just pick one and done or highest and best. There are options that they have to help protect them as a seller and keep that market going in their favor with multiple buyers in ways that protect the seller. They cannot obviously sell the property to more than one person, more than one buyer. That's why we have a specific form to use that has specific wording to protect them, that they can respond in multiple ways. There are multiple opportunities for them to be successful in this market. And just like Joe's holding the briefcase with a file, all of that must be documented in your file. If you have questions, you know how to find me. Enjoy.